A cloudy, rainy Monday morning here in Northwest Georgia, but it's still a morning, and I hope that you had a great weekend. I hope that you're recovering from the time change. It was dark when we headed out this morning compared to the bright sun that we've been having. Part of it clouds, but I hope you've had a good day, had a good weekend. Today I want to talk to you for a few minutes. So grab your coffee and we're going to talk about active listening. We're going to talk about how to actually become an active listener. This is actually a superpower that we have that most people ignore. And we're going to talk about how to actually use it and begin learning more about any and everything than you have in the past, because the honest truth is most people suck when it comes to listening. They don't mean to. They think they're paying attention. They nod in all the right places. They throw in a few or yeah, totally, yeah, absolutely, exactly, but they're not actually listening. They are not paying attention to what's being said. They are waiting for their turn to talk. And that's the difference between hearing and listening. There's a lot of people out there that hear everything that you say, but they're not listening. If you want to begin understanding people, if you want to really understand them, then you're going to have to develop this superpower of active listening. It's probably the single most effective way to learn about anyone, to learn about any situation, and to find any hidden truths that are not immediately obvious. Because here's another secret that I'm sharing with you as the UnHypnotist. People will tell you everything you need to know if you actually listen to what they're saying. The thing is, most people don't listen. There's a reason that listening's hard. There's a reason that most people don't do it. It's because we are distracted. We are bombarded with constant distractions, and especially now in this soundbite world that we live in, it's easy for us to get distracted. We're thinking about our response rather than actually paying attention to what's being said. We're waiting for our turn to talk. We are assuming that we already know what they mean, and we don't. We're letting our own thoughts and our own opinions and our own emotions override what's actually being said. Most people are listening to respond and not to actually understand what's being said, which means that we usually miss everything that's being said. We miss what's being said. We miss what's not being said. We miss the underlying context and meanings and subtext and all of the emotional cues that go along with what the other person is trying to tell us. And all of that we're missing is where all of the real information lies. So we've got to learn to tap into this power of active listening. It's not just about shutting up and letting the other person talk, but it's about being fully present in the conversation. It's about drawing out the truth that even when the other person does not realize they're telling you the truth. And when you are able to do this correctly, it's going to make you a better communicator. It's going to make you a more effective leader. It's going to make you a master of persuasion. It's going to make you someone that people trust, even if they don't know why. Because people want to be heard. People need to be heard. People crave to be heard. And so most of the time, no one's really listening to them. They're used to conversations where they have to fight to be understood. They're used to conversations where everyone seems to misinterpret what they're saying. They're used to conversations where they are constantly having to repeat themselves just to get their point across. But when you become an active listener, really listening, you become the person that just gets them. Yep, Jack, you've got to stop yapping. You've got to be quiet in order to actively listen. And that makes you powerful. So how do you actually become active listening? Right, first we've got to shut up. Shut up what we're saying, what we're wanting to say. And it's not just the words coming out of our mouth, but that internal monologue and dialogue that's constantly going, that trying to frame a response to what they're saying, and to actually pay attention to what's being said. That seems obvious, right? But it's the step that we most of us fail at. We're always thinking about our next response. We're forming counter arguments in our head. We're assuming that we know exactly what they mean. Our job is to listen without any agenda. And when we start doing this, we notice some pretty interesting things. We notice that most people are not used to being listened to. So when you give someone your full attention, they will start opening up in ways that they don't even realize. And that's where the important information lies. And then once you start really paying attention, you can mirror back their words, not like a robot, not robotic, not machine-like, but mirroring in a subtle way that will help bring clarity to what they are actually saying. When someone tells you something, repeat part of what they said back to them, but frame it more as a question. So if you're having a conversation with someone and they say, "Well, I just feel like nobody ever really takes me seriously." A way you can mirror that back is, nobody takes you seriously. And they will elaborate on that. That's it. That one sentence. You're not confronting them. You're not challenging them. You're asking a question for more clarity. And just by asking that one sentence, words that they've used, mirroring them back to them, they'll start expanding. They'll start giving you more information. They'll add details that they may not have even been planning on revealing. And because people have a psychological need to clarify, to correct, to elaborate when they hear their own words reflected back to them, they'll open up and share more information with you. And if you use this correctly, it really makes people feel understood, because you are seeking to understand them. It's not about manipulation. It's not about coercion, but it's about truly wanting to understand the other person's perspective and where they're coming from. And they're giving you a lot of information, a lot more than they originally wanted to share. So mirroring is a powerful tool that you can use when you want to really understand where the other person's coming from. And then there's a tool that you can use where you get it wrong on purpose. And it's probably one of the most powerful techniques that you will ever learn when you're trying to elicit information from someone. When someone's telling you something, intentionally state it back to them, but slightly incorrect. Not blatantly wrong, but just a little bit off. So an example would be like if somebody told you, I just feel like my boss doesn't appreciate anything that I do. You might repeat it back as, so you think he really dislikes you. And that's a little wrong. It's not what they said, but it's in the same context of what they said, and 9 out of 10 times they're going to immediately correct you, because everyone loves to correct other people. And when they correct you, they give you more information than they would have if you just nodded along. Because people can't help but correct something that doesn't quite match their experience. So by strategically misinterpreting slightly, you give them the opportunity to clarify. And that gives you a deeper truth behind the words that they're using. And then we've got to begin paying attention to the things that are not being said. If you want to be a true active listener, then you've got to pay attention to what's not being said, because most people communicate in their, not just their words, but in their tone, in their pacing. So are they excited? Are they hesitant? Are they frustrated? Are they speaking in a rushed manner? Are they speaking slowly? Are they speaking, do they seem uncertain with the words that they're using? How is their body language? Do they seem relaxed? Do they seem closed off and tight? And body language, there's a lot of context that goes into that. There's so many people out there teaching how to read body language, and a great example of something that's used often that is just not true is if they have their arms crossed, they're closed off, they're resistant. Well, maybe they're just more comfortable with their arms crossed. It's all about context and actually being able to accurately read body language and behavior, and all of that comes into play with practice. But you can learn a lot about somebody's body language. Do they seem relaxed? Do they seem closed off? Do they seem like they're more shifting uncomfortably? You know, somebody can tell you they're fine, but if they hesitate before answering and their voice drops or they look down, they just told you they're not fine. Listening is not just about the words. It's about decoding everything around the words. And so if you learn to actually start active listening, there's some things you're going to find. You're going to get more out of every conversation. The people around you are constantly giving away information without ever realizing it. When you begin to master this skill of active listening, you'll start hearing what people really mean, not just what they say. And it's almost like getting an unfair advantage. You want to do better in business, in sales, if you want to improve relationships, if you want to provide better leadership, if you want to improve just your everyday interactions with other people, learn to master this skill of active listening. And when you do this, you're going to build instant trust and connection. Because, like we said earlier, most people do not listen. And that means the moment you start active listening, people are going to feel connected to you. They're going to start opening up. They're going to trust you more. They're going to feel like you get them. even though you've barely spoken a word, because you're giving them something rare. You're giving them your full attention. They're not used to getting that. They're not used to getting attention from anyone. And when you do this, you'll find that you become more persuasive. You want to encourage people to do the right things, then learn to be an active listener. When you understand how others truly think and feel, then you know exactly how to communicate with them. So you can frame your perspective in a way that resonates with them so that they'll understand you just as well. You can address their real concerns and their real worries and their real fears before they ever even verbalize them. If you're in sales, learning how to be an active listener where you can present evidence and truths that will overcome any argument that the client or customer has before they ever even present it. It's almost like you have the skill of reading their minds. And you're not really reading their minds, you're just reading what they're actually saying to you. It will allow you to present ideas in a way that feels natural instead of forced. Because most persuasion is not about what you say, it's about how well you listen before you say anything. So if you can learn to master this skill, you can master life. It takes one thing. And one thing, if you learn nothing else from today's video, this one thing I hope is this: people will tell you everything you need to know if you will let them. But most of us are too busy talking. We're too busy waiting for our turn. We're too busy thinking about our response. We're too distracted by all of the noise around us and the own noise that we have going on in our head. And we're far too distracted to actually hear the truth. So if you become one who really listens, truly listens, you will have a power that most people don't possess. You will hold the power of influence. You will hold the power of connection. You will hold the ability to be able to actually understand people at a level that most never will. So I encourage you to start today. Just be quiet, listen, pay attention, and see what happens. See what happens. See what people are willing to tell you if you truly listen to what they're saying. I hope this video has been helpful for you. I appreciate all of you for joining me here today. And I appreciate those of you that come back and watch it later in the archives. Again, leave me a like, leave me a comment. Let me know if this video has been helpful. If there's other topics that you want me to address in the future, let me know, and I'll be happy to put together something and create a live or long form content or some shorts if it's just tools and tips and techniques. I've got several hypnotic thoughts of the day that will help reprogram your unconscious mind to gear itself for success. So check those out on the channel. Subscribe. And again, thanks again for watching. I hope that this has been helpful. And we'll see you on the next live real soon. Have a great day.